Most people think they have an emergency fund, but when something actually happens, they realize they don't. They might have a little money sitting in their account, maybe a few $100s, maybe even 1,000. But it's not structured, it's not protected, and it's not truly set aside for emergencies. It's just money that happens to be there. And when something unexpected comes up, that money disappears quickly, often leaving them right back where they started. That's why so many people feel like they're constantly starting over. It's not because they aren't trying. It's because they don't have a system that separates everyday money from emergency money. Without that separation, everything blends together, and when pressure hits, there's nothing to absorb it. That's where the real problem is. An emergency fund isn't just about having money. It's about having the right money in the right place for the right reason. It's about creating a layer of protection between your life and unexpected events. Because unexpected expenses aren't rare, they're guaranteed. Car repairs, medical bills, home issues, sudden travel, job interruptions. These things will happen. And when they do, the difference between stress and control comes down to whether or not you prepared for them. Most people wait until something goes wrong to react, but by then it's too late. The goal isn't to react better, it's to be ready before anything happens. That's what an emergency fund actually does. It turns surprises into manageable situations instead of financial setbacks. And once you understand that, you stop seeing it as optional and start seeing it as essential. Because this isn't about saving for something specific. It's about protecting everything else you've built. The reason most people struggle to build an emergency fund isn't because they can't save. It's because the goal feels too big. When people hear they should have 3 to 6 months of expenses saved, it feels overwhelming. It feels far away. And because it feels far away, they don't start at all. Or they start, but they lose momentum quickly because they don't see progress fast enough. That's where the approach needs to change. You don't build an emergency fund by focusing on the final number. You build it step by step, starting small and growing over time. The first goal isn't thousands of dollars. The first goal is something manageable, something real, something you can reach quickly. Maybe that's $100. Maybe it's $500. Maybe it's $1,000. The number doesn't matter as much as the fact that you hit it. Because once you hit that first milestone, something shifts. You stop feeling like you're behind, and you start feeling like you're building. And that feeling matters more than people think. Because progress creates motivation, and motivation helps you stay consistent. From there, you build the next layer. Not all at once, not aggressively, but steadily. Each layer adds more protection, more breathing room, more confidence. And over time, those layers become a real emergency fund. Not something theoretical, not something you hope to build someday, but something you can rely on. That's the difference between thinking about financial security and actually creating it. And it starts by making the goal feel achievable instead of overwhelming. Another mistake people make is treating their emergency fund like regular money. They keep it in the same account, they mix it with spending money, and they don't clearly define its purpose. That's why it gets used for things that aren't actually emergencies. A sale, a trip, something convenient in the moment. Suddenly, the emergency fund is gone and they're back to zero. That's why structure matters. Your emergency fund needs to be separate, both physically and mentally. It needs to live in its own space, where it isn't easily touched or casually used. Because the moment it feels accessible for everyday spending, it stops serving its purpose. This isn't money you dip into when you feel like it. This is money that stays untouched, unless something truly unexpected happens. And defining that line is critical. You need to decide what qualifies as an emergency before it happens, not in the moment. Because decisions made under pressure are emotional, and emotional decisions usually lead to using the money too early. When you set clear rules ahead of time, you remove that risk. You create discipline without needing constant willpower. And that's what makes the system work. Because now, your emergency fund isn't just money sitting there. It's protected, it's intentional, and it's ready when you actually need it. That's what turns it from a nice idea into a real safety net. Building an emergency fund isn't about speed, it's about consistency. A lot of people think they need to build it quickly, but trying to rush the process usually leads to burnout. They save aggressively for a short period, then something comes up, they dip into it, and they lose momentum. Instead of trying to do it fast, focus on doing it steadily. Small amounts, repeated consistently, are far more effective than large amounts done occasionally. Because consistency is what creates stability. Even if it feels slow at first, it's still progress, and that progress builds over time. Each deposit adds to your foundation. Each step strengthens your system, and eventually, you reach a point where things feel different. You don't panic when something unexpected happens. You don't stress about how you're going to cover it. You already know. That's what you're building toward. Not just a number in an account, but a feeling of control. And that feeling changes how you approach money entirely. Because now, instead of reacting to problems, you're prepared for them. And preparation is what separates people who stay stuck from people who move forward. It's not about being perfect, it's about being ready. At the end of the day, an emergency fund is one of the most important parts of your financial system because it protects everything else. It protects your progress, your habits, your consistency, and your peace of mind. Without it, one unexpected expense can undo weeks or even months of effort. But with it, those same situations become manageable. They don't stop you. They don't reset you. They don't force you backwards. And that's the real value. It's not just about the money. It's about what that money prevents. Stress, panic, setbacks, and starting over. When you commit to building this step by step, you're not just saving, you're creating stability. And stability is what allows everything else to grow. So instead of focusing on how far you have to go, focus on your next step. Start with a small, achievable goal. Protect it, build on it, and keep going. Because once your emergency fund starts to grow, everything else starts to feel easier. You're not guessing anymore. You're not hoping things work out. You're prepared. And that's what real financial progress looks like. It's not flashy, it's not fast, but it's consistent and it works. And once it's in place, it becomes the foundation that everything else is built on.